Hi guys, welcome to Pillow Pod. My name's Sophie.
And my name's Chloe.
And this is... we
Pillow
do this
Pod.
every time.
I don't know
I need
why.
To stop saying and, there's nothing else to say.
And
it's just
here we
we're
go.
the Pillow Pod.
Right, we will work on our intros because they're just rubbish every single
Eventually.
time, yeah.
Today, we're talking about Steven Bartlett and his journey as an entrepreneur. Not really, actually. We're talking about the Diary of the CEO book. He's an entrepreneur, author, and the podcast host of Diary of a CEO, which has made him like the top podcast producer on Spotify for like 3 years in a row.
That is just insane.
So yeah, we need to put in some work.
Yeah, we need to get this going. No pressure, no pressure. It's a bit of a race. He's kind of ahead though. I think he's kind of
he's a bit up there.
He's a bit up there, but he's not wearing pink though. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know
so he's already
Yeah. All right, we're not hating. Yeah, so anyway, no. Welcome to the roast of jokes. Anyway, so what we going back into? Diary of the CEO.
Yeah, so we're just going to speak about like the little insights into what he's done. So for example, the book is about 33 laws of business and life. So it's just about his journey and what he's learned.
I've been reading that like on every day off at the moment. Anyone who's following my stories is probably sick on it. I'm on law 19 now. No, honestly,
Law 19.
Law 19. No, but I love that because he's written it in a way that it's not like, when you try and follow, especially with people with ADHD like us, trying to follow something that isn't visual. He's got graphs, diagrams, just like scribbles so in there with ideas, and then the chapters are laws that he lives by. So then you know that your work, like I know, okay, I'm going to read another law today, and then I'm actually retaining the knowledge, which is so sick.
Because the chapters aren't massively long either.
No.
So it's an easy read.
Yeah, 100%. A big thing of one of his laws that he cuts into is about how you must sweat the small stuff. So obviously where you're trying to like cope and crack on with things, and there is a saying of like, don't even sweat about the small stuff, like don't even care, don't even pay attention. His whole angle is you have to pay attention to the tiny details because that's what's going to generate your success when you're starting right at the bottom. Obviously think big, but it's the details and the minute day-to-day things which is what will really make a difference of your business and you as an entrepreneur. And the big things that he kind of goes into in his book, for an example, is, and I find this so fascinating. So on Diary of the CEO, with his guests, he will research their favorite music and he'll play it in the reception area before they've even got into the podcast studio. So then they're coming in, they're feeling relaxed, they're feeling warm. They feel like they're going to like get a lot more of a better performance out of someone who's coming in to something they kind of are familiar with. Yeah,
exactly.
Especially walking into a new environment.
100%, yeah.
And then he was like, no guest has ever brought this up. And I'm like, that's how miniature
like
the details are.
Like subconscious.
Facts.
Yeah.
And then it's also like they've researched the temperature of how to find like the exact AC and heating of how you're going to get someone feeling really relaxed. So then they're going to converse with you more naturally. Yeah, 100%.
That's so mad. What is the optimal temperature of a room for a conversation?
I don't even know. Like, I want to find out though.
It's definitely not whatever we're sat in because it's freezing. We had to turn the heating
I was
off.
boiling. I was too hot. Hashtag opposites attract. I can't. If I get too hot, I get fussy and then I won't talk to you, as Steven Bartlett's already suggested in the research. But another fascinating thing is, this is actually insane.
Tell me.
They brought in a scientist to create a data-driven model built with AI of how they then generate of like what guests to bring on the podcast, what topics are trending and what to use, and like the length of a podcast episode, even the characters of a podcast title. He's generated his own software.
Things that you wouldn't even think of.
Yeah, because when you're like, everyone does it, like, okay, TikTok trends this week, when you're looking at trending sounds, he's got his own AI that his own scientist built. Isn't that just crazy?
How much that would have cost?
I don't think that would have been a collab. You want to collaborate on this like once in a lifetime scientific experience? No, but that's sick though.
Yeah.
Because then as well, like with everything, with like the AI and the testing and the research, so much of it is trial and error. And a huge thing he also said that they do is every podcast episode, before the episode comes out, they trial their advertisement. So he will run 2 campaigns that are different. He didn't go into the details of what was different, but it's like the first 3 sections of like any advertisement is what you're gonna get people's reactions from. He's got polar opposite setups for each of these. Whatever performs well, they then run with that. Isn't that just fascinating? Because then people don't even realize he's running 2 campaigns. Because you're still just advertising and that's the whole thing though, is like you can still publicly do trial and error for your business, especially marketing and advertisement, because like no one's even going to notice, and that's what's going to then actually give you authentic results that you can then grow from.
Exactly.
But like the big thing from why we wanted to speak about you must sweat the small stuff is because he's recently dropped this 1% diary. Oh my God, guys, if anyone has access to this, we are itching to get our hands on one. We're on the wait list. So good. At Steven. Really want a diary. But basically, like, it's like a prompter notebook of reminding you of like, okay, daily, what are those minute details of like what 1% are you going to change in your life personally or in your business? And the examples are crazy.
To become a better version of yourself.
Like he had things in there like reduce temperature by 3 degrees in the podcast studio, cut the gym workout that he does every morning by 15 minutes, because it could have been like, okay, I'm feeling stressed out every Tuesday because I've got back-to-back meetings. Take 15 minutes off of my workout. Use that 15 minutes to reset. Suddenly.
Like, these don't have to be drastic changes. These can be minuscule things that can actually make a huge difference.
Facts. And I really think, like, the level of discipline that it takes to be like, right, I'm going to really self-reflect it. So I think that's the hardest thing when you get into entrepreneurship, of having to really sit down and swallow that pill.
You feel like you don't even have the time to reflect.
Facts. Or it ends up getting like, you get caught up in being like too negative and like, oh, I don't 100%. Want to sit here and bash myself. Or you end up focusing on, I'm doing this wrong. Okay, if you're doing this wrong, what aspect are you thinking it's wrong and why?
Exactly.
But then
it's not even necessarily the whole thing is wrong. It's just a minute detail.
And it's facts and figures. Exactly. This isn't even like opinions of yourself. He's got facts and figures to back up everything that he's researching. And then it's actually like seriously making a difference. But we were also going to touch on how we use our 1% in Pillow Pod. Yes. Buckle your seats.
Even from how we run our events, we will do like, not a rehearsal, but for example, when we have our content backdrops, we did like a whole walkthrough in your house,
in my house,
how the experience would be for our attendees. Yeah. So things like that, like, and we also do like floor plans, and we make sure that everything is drawn out to the complete like spec that we want it to be before we actually go ahead and put our backdrops out.
Yeah, I think it's so important though, because it's like, especially anyone who was with us setting up those events, we've got a couple of hours to transform a full space, and the restaurants we were working in, they were like they were predominantly blue, and obviously we're coming in here like, right, shake it up Chicago, let's go. And we've got a couple of hours to do it. You have to plan the details.
It has to be planned, otherwise we would have gone mad.
Honestly,
if we didn't plan.
But then like it's the layout of everything. Like you said, like we were doing floor plans. We're then like I was drawing little arrows, like little footsteps of when people would be coming in, and like, okay, if I walked into this, the first thing I see is the food, the content backdrop, the pamper area. Where's the cocktail? There's the cocktail. And then we had the whole tucked away section as well, which I thought was really nice. But I think it helps you, especially a bird's eye floor plan. It helps you really definitely look at the like the perspective of your client that's coming in.
It's so funny because like my floor plan was like really clean, and then you like put footsteps and arrows in the, I'm like, oh,
well, we'll just actually sum this up. Turn your cue card around quickly. Ready for the difference?
Clean.
Chaos. Well, I need I've got like 5 words on here, and you've got a dissertation. can't read your writing.
I can't even read it at this point.
It's like hieroglyphics. It's so beautiful though. Oh, stop. We're going to get carried away. Tangents. But yeah, anyway, the floor plans. And another thing I think with our events specifically, with that 1% of tiny details, especially on the launch night, how we broke it up is I was the hostess at the front checking everyone in, and Soph was running around as the air hostess, handing out drinks. Air hostess. I like the way you dress. She was basically, we wanted to like split up. So, because obviously if you're turning up to a networking event and you got two people stood on the door, I'm intimidated and I'm not going in. So we deliberately split up so if I could then welcome everyone coming in and then hand them over to Soph and she talks them through about the layout. So then you don't feel like you're alone. The second you arrive at one of our events, you're in communication and contact with someone. And I also made sure that as long as everyone was happy with it, I offered a hug to any attendee that came. And obviously most of these women were strangers. It's the first time we ever met. But I felt, because obviously we're an all women networking business, having a hug instead of the hi, nice to meet you, I do this, that's a barrier. Obviously it's professional, but as our brand and our identity, that's not really what we're about. So the second I gave everyone a hug, they immediately walls down, relaxed, excited to go. They're straight away, I was so nervous, but I've put on my pink outfit. I've come to give it a go. But I think that's so interesting though, is like, when it comes down to the tiny little details that we were thinking about and we really put forward, we got all that feedback back from them. Because when we asked at the end, like, okay, how have you found everything? That's exactly what they said back to us. So all those tiny details went noticed. I thought it was nice.
And to carry on from the guest feedback, like, we will use all of like the key words within the guest feedback and use that within our ads when we're running our networking events and pushing our YouTube videos. We'll use those certain words that we know have like what other people see in our brand, and we'll push those, and that tends to get us the best results when we're running our ads and stuff like that.
Because the whole thing, especially with our ads and the whole setup, is the whole thing feels Instagrammable, and that's a huge key thing for us. Is our platforms are the biggest at the moment on Instagram. That's where all of our attendees, contacts, even our clients in our own businesses, Instagram's been the biggest pusher for us, even before we went down website routes. And for us to make sure that we are Instagrammable, you say to someone like, that's really Instagrammable, it's giving clean latte, it's giving, I'm having a croissant in Paris, it's giving clean, beautiful, oh, I'm living my day-to-day life, like, even though it's a complete setup and it's just stunning. That's exactly what we were going for. So when we were looking into how we were going to lay out our food, the content, of course Pinterest got a good looking. She worked overtime for us.
Is so good.
Pinterest, I love you. I love Pinterest.
Same.
But like, even how we were laying out all of our confectionery items, because on the first networking event we went proper sweet tooth. Like, you're not going to be catching a Toby Carvery at any of our events. It's all going to be like strawberry jammy Dodgers, Pink Panther biscuits. But like, obviously we're doing brunch now because we're growing up a bit. Now we were like, okay, we need to
scrap that.
Now it's eggs on toast. But when we were doing our first launch events, we wanted everything to feel like pink in unison, including the food. I cannot believe how many trips we did to get all of that together.
I don't even want to talk about, like, that was actual stress.
The amount of petrol we went through.
Just over the jammy Dodgers.
Jammy Dodger gate, mate.
Pink Pavlovas, right?
Pink Pavlovas that were just smashed in the car. Oh, but that's what it is though. That's what makes a difference, because do you know what I love? And this is what I watched as well. Everyone was obviously taking selfies when they arrived at the event. The first thing people were filming, food.
Yeah, 100%.
Hilarious. I saw a jammy Dodger on every single story that night. And I'm like, and it's the fact that they're like, you knew you'd need me. You knew you'd need me. Honestly, cheeky.
No, but to stick with Instagram though, even when we like post our stories and do polls and stuff like that, we will look through all of our metrics and analytics to make sure that obviously they're up to scratch, they're actually engaging, and we'll see what works best from that. And then we can just use that as like a, what's the word? that's what we'll do consistently on our Instagram.
I think Instagram polls are brilliant though, of finding out the feedback
Definitely.
and those little bits of information. And I think that's something that we're like, I also use it in my own page as well. And like, you always joke like, oh my God, did you see someone use your poll tactic on Instagram? I'm like, I'm not the only one who does
Like,
Instagram polls.
Chloe's only allowed to do polls.
Chloe owns the copyright of Instagram polls. I don't, Soph. No, but like that's what I love though, because when you said that, I was like, and
I just associate you with polls.
And a lot of
poll like every day.
A lot of people do though, and I get a lot of feedback on them, and I've been doing them for PP as well. Pillow Pod PP, search us up. And we get so much like connection from it because it's such a low effort thing for someone.
Exactly. You just click an
option. You click,
and
all you're looking for is someone's opinion. The viewer knows their opinion's welcomed, and then we just do that on repeat. But I think that's definitely one of our 1% things actually with our socials is we always want feedback.
Yeah.
Even if like, I hate Pillow Pod, but at least thank you for the feedback. Pink's not your colour. I appreciate it. At least we're getting the feedback. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Maybe try blue. Nah. I think that's everything on 1%. Actually, what about our typography and our colours? You wanted to get into that a bit.
Okay. So we actually, when we first started our podcast, and not when we were filming in your bedroom.
Bless our hearts.
When we actually thought, this is a brand, we researched, we knew we wanted it to be pink, but we researched like the psychology of the colour pink and how it would affect consumers and viewers and stuff like that. So we have like 3 different pinks that we use and a red, and they all mean different things. Like, for example, the lighter pinks are like safety and calmness, all the way to the red, which is like passion and fire. And I feel like that's what really not sets us apart, because it's not like we're the only brand that has pink branding, but
yeah, Kylie Jenner, you're out.
But we definitely thought about that in the beginning stages of our brand,
because we didn't want to go down the whole clean girl aesthetic being too like it feels like a business. Because you look at our branding, it doesn't feel business, and it doesn't feel businessy. It doesn't feel businessy, and it doesn't feel like podcast. Like, and I like that. I like that it doesn't feel like exactly what we do, because it feels fun, vibrant, modern, and friendly, which sums up our personalities, which I do really like. But we'll get more into the nit and gritty of that in the next episode about branding. See you there. Anything else on 1%?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Apart from I still want a diary. Someone, I'll attach my address down there. Santa, if you're listening, 1% diary. Yeah, so just to wrap up this episode, guys, is the main thing that we wanted to kind of put across is the whole 1% mentality. That is the core foundation of your business success, because it's all good to have dreams, want to achieve them. Amazing if you're achieving them, but then how you're going to remain up here is consistency, and that starts with the mentality here. And then we were also saying, like, when it comes to the point that we introduce employees and we expand Pillow Pod, we want to make sure our core values and our 1% mindset follows through into the rest of our team.
Yeah,
and that's what you have to think about though.
100%. And I think especially when it comes to, you know, getting all your employees on board with the same values, it's also Steven Bartlett also has like a chapter on creating a cult mentality within your business, and I think that's so important that everyone's on the exact same page, everyone's like-minded, because I feel like as soon as you have a weak link, again, even if it's a 1%, you know what I mean, they're out of here. No,
but also if you think about like really big brands where, like, as an example, Pepsi and Kylie Jenner, when that whole commercial went completely sideways, where you need to think about who you're associating yourself with and mixing businesses and what those businesses stand for. Obviously that was a huge cataclysmic example of what I'm going for. But if there isn't a running theme of understanding of what the core values are, and that's where that issue was, is that whole commercial ended up being tone deaf. for what they were trying to push. And obviously where there wasn't that research and communication of what was going there, they obviously didn't converse of what was going to be happening. I think it's so important that you do not only focus on yourself as an entrepreneur and the team you're going to be building, you also need to remember when you're walking into collaborations or brand partnerships, even clients that you're getting paid for, you will be associated with that. Like if I was where I do presenting in my side of things, I make it a point to kind of remain apolitical. So yeah, I would like but the obvious ones, because if I was to go and, I don't know, I'm not going to name drop here, careful here.
And you're like, what are you going to say?
Where are you going? Don't panic. If I was to go stand to like a huge public figure or something, someone would immediately associate that my business and my brand associates with that or condones it, blah, blah, blah. You've always got to be very aware of, okay, what does this pull down to the facts here? But yeah, before I go on a political outrage, don't know anything about politics. Stop panicking. But yeah, that's everything. Like, I thought that was a lovely, strong episode. So I'll look forward to receiving my 1% diary in the post.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. See you there. And I'll attach my address. You can send it as well. So don't worry. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.